Welcome to Faith on Tap, a podcast where we go out to the wilds of local breweries and talk to you about, thoughts and various topics are important to all of us. And we are here again with my lovely wife, Liz.
Hello.
And our pastor, who I'm going to give you a choice of two.
All right.
We go in two different directions, either the Reverend of Righteousness or the Reverend of Refreshment.
I like the Reverend of Refreshment. I'm like a good stick of deodorant.
Okay, because you don't feel that you are righteous.
If it wasn't for the righteousness of Christ, I wouldn't even know what that word meant.
Fair enough, fair enough. Well, before we get into our topic that we'll be asking our guest, Liz, you said you had something for us.
Oh, yeah, just a little thing. Not too long ago, somewhere in our feed, Dennis said that he really wanted to meet, was it Robert Johnson?
Yes.
And so I thought it'd be interesting to find out what everyone's blues name is. Very, very simple.
Oh.
All you need to do is know the initials of your name.
That's
Got
it.
And then I can tell you what your
All right.
name is. So, for example, my initials are EAM. So I am, it could be LAM. Which one should I go with?
I think you should go proper with the E.
Okay, so I am Texas Bones Lee.
Not bad.
That's my blues name.
Texas Bones Lee.
Yes.
All right. Do me.
No, Mark. He's got
MMM.
He's got the easiest initials in the world. He's MMM. So he's Jailhouse Gumbo Lee.
The gumbo.
Gumbo? Yeah.
It doesn't work.
Yeah.
Jailhouse Lee.
A jailhouse.
Jailhouse Lee is good.
I got that.
All right. DCR.
And what does the C stand for?
Charles.
Charles. Okay.
Oh, that was an evil laugh, too, if you could have seen her face.
You are Old Harp Jefferson.
Harp?
Harp. I'll take that. That is pretty.
Old Harp Jefferson.
Not bad.
There you are.
Wait, let me write that down.
It beats
Old
gumbo.
You know, it really does.
Just about anything does, though.
Well, I'm good old Texas Bones.
That's not
And I think I have to leave the D off. It's not old. It's old.
It says old. So if your first name was Frank, then you would have Hollerin with no G.
Oh, that would have been good.
Oh,
Or W would have been Screamin'.
Halloran Harp
Ooh,
Jefferson.
Q. Let's say you were Quincy, you'd be bald.
That's just a
Bald
descriptor.
Harp Jefferson. I like Halloran Harp
Yeah,
Jefferson.
me too.
Hollerin' Harp would have
I'm
been
gonna
sweet.
change my name.
You have to change your name to Francis. Or
Francis.
Okay, so today we are going to be exploring this question. Are there any situations where you think it is acceptable to lie? What's going to be interesting is I already know what my pastor's view is because he gave a sermon on this not too long ago. And it's going to be really interesting because I really don't agree with him. But who am I? I'm just a lay person. So it'll be interesting to see his take on where we're going with it. So Liz, where do you stand on this issue?
I remember when I was a teenager, there was a book that I read, and I'm sure a lot of people did. And if you haven't read it, it's a good opportunity to pick it up. It's called The Hiding Place by Corrie ten Boom. It's also a movie, quite excellent. And her and her family, they lived in the Netherlands during World War II, and they decided to hide Jews in their home. And one of the places that they hid them was under the floorboards in their kitchen. And then the table would go right on top of it. So Corrie had, she's like in her 40s or 50s during this, since her sister's a little bit younger. And her sister Betsy just did not believe in lying at all. And Corrie was probably, I don't know what you would call it. She wasn't quite as committed to that thought. They were all Christians. The whole family was Christians. And so they decided to hide the Jews there. And when the Nazis came in, surprisingly one day, they weren't expecting them. So they hid them right away quickly. And when the Nazis asked Betsy, "Do you have any Jews hiding here?" she said, "Yeah, they're under the table." And they thought that she was making fun of them. So they arrested her. And then they asked Corrie, and Corrie lied and says, "No, we don't have any." When they arrested her anyway, and the whole family, they never found the Jews in there that were hiding in their home, which is extraordinary. Her father was a watchmaker, and so someone got a note to them saying all the watches in your closet are safe, which is so cool. But Corrie always wondered if Betsy had done the better thing.
Okay. So before I hear your take, Dennis, I want to set everything up. And correct me if I'm wrong, Pastor. So we're talking on lying, and this is, I'm assuming, reference to the 9th commandment where you shall not bear false witness. Is that your basis for the discussion?
Bear false witness, not necessarily.
So it's not one of the commandments.
No, lying is spoken about in the scripture over and again. I just quickly pulled up on my iPad 25 of the top verses about lying. So here, if I were to give an umbrella answer, lying is always wrong, but sometimes you have to do it.
All right, well, that's an umbrella, and I'm going to challenge you on that. Mm-hmm. Exodus, where in the 20:16, where it talks about that you shall not bear false witness, that really is more of a reference of when you're on a stand and you're giving testimony, usually in a legal sense, to tell the truth about what you saw and not make up something.
Right, the whole truth.
Right.
Nothing but the truth, so help me God.
And two other, obviously, we can talk specifically. There's a proverb, 12:22, which states, lying lips are abomination to the Lord, but those who deal truthfully are his delight, along with, Revelation 21:8, where liars are among those who will face judgment. So, and yeah, you said copious of other scriptures that talk about that from Ephesians, Colossians, etc. So Paul had a lot of things to say. So the term lying, I think when you take that apart, and as I'm trying to ask you questions about lying, and it is a falsehood or deceit. It emphasizes that God detests dishonesty and he seeks moral and spiritual truthfulness. And I think you'd be coming down with that in agreement. I could go with the Greek words of this, but I don't think it's necessary. I think we're all on the same page.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's my objection to this. Well, first of all, we can use scripture as part of that. I think we all are familiar with the story of Rahab and Joshua. And if you recall what she did, she was a Canaanite who was hiding Israelite spies, kind of like Corrie ten Boom. And when the king men were looking for the spies, Rahab lied about the whereabouts to protect them. And not only that, scripture in Hebrews 11:31 commends her by saying, by faith of the prostitute Rahab, because she welcomed the spies and not killed with those who were disobedient. And even James 2:25 highlights her righteous deeds. In the same way, was not even Rahab the prostitute considered righteous for what she did, blah, 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 blah. So I think if Rahab, who did lie to do good in the eyes of God, and that was a sign of faith, there seems to be a little bit more of a nuanced interpretation of lying, I'm thinking. What were your thoughts on that?
Well, obviously, in the context of that story, there is, but lies are, it's her righteousness. Was that in her lying, or was her righteousness in wanting to protect God's people?
Right.
So
that's lying, though.
Does the means justify the ends in all situations? It's a big call, and who gets to decide what lies are acceptable, what lies aren't.
Well, I'll definitely give you, as far as the final judgment goes to God, but I'm saying this opens the door that there are some situations where that actually could happen and God honors that. So if I was to think about a little deeper, I'm thinking, okay, so, if someone came into my house, I'll ask you, Dennis, make it personal. Someone comes into your house with a gun saying, where is your wife? I'm going to kill her. Are you going to be doing the honest thing and telling where she is?
Absolutely not.
Okay, so, and you think God would be judgmental against that? You think God would say, no, you really should tell the killer where your wife is?
I don't know. But I will say that.
So there's a point where you think there's a possibility that
there is a possibility of it, but yet in that same context, I'm going to lie, and there's no qualm about, there's no question about, I am going to, at the very least, not give an answer. At the very worst, she left for her mother's last night and is there for a month, Well, a lie is a lie. And a lie is a lie.
My contention is, I think God looks at the intent. And I think the difference, and this is my opinion, that we're talking about selfish ambition versus selfless ambition. So in other words, if my lies are intended to puff me up, I would say that's definitely wrong. But if it's a lie that intent has nothing to do with me, but the good of the situation, in Rahab's case, for example, or the case when someone wants to do evil to someone.
Well, the lie always has to do with you. So
but why are you telling that lie?
What is the motivation behind it?
What was Rahab's motivation behind it? Was it to benefit herself? It was not.
Right. But that doesn't make the lie correct if you look at the pure righteousness of the very black and white of God.
Well, it's interesting how...
But I would have lied.
But
I'm not.
Paul and the writers of Hebrew both extolled her virtues of what she did, and God honored that too. So the act of lying in that situation, we're supposed to look at as a positive thing, a role model of faith.
Again, was it her heart that was the role model of faith, willing to put herself out on a limb, to put herself in actually physical danger? Or was it the actual lie itself that was righteous? I don't believe that the actual lie would have been considered righteous in God's eyes. I believe that her heart in God's eyes held the righteousness. And just because she made a mistake doesn't mean she's evil, she's wicked. If you look through the Bible, there's a bazillion mistakes made by those. And it's not that God says, wow, look at David. He sinned. David suffered the consequence. And the story is told, we learned from it, but yet he was still a man after God's own heart. And so in our weakness, in our brokenness, in our mistakes, even in our lying, God sees our stupidity in the context of even before it happens with us, and he still loves us, he still calls us, and our story isn't negated or deleted just because we've messed up, because it's really not. It comes down to not being really so much about us, but about what God is doing, his redemption in it all. And I think the heart, it's a huge component of this whole idea, but it's really not necessarily my heart says I need to protect this person, so I'm going to lie. My heart is, I'm a follower of Jesus, and knowing that I'm going to make mistakes, I want to do the best I can for this person. And sometimes my judgment is wrong. Sometimes I've made the wrong decision. I've done the wrong thing, and yet it works out okay. Sometimes my best intentions backfire and end up slamming my foot in the door.
We all have done that.
I think you both are agreeing that God definitely looks at the heart, and he will deal with people accordingly. And I've been demonstrated from, Rahab all the way down to Paul and to us.
Do you think there'll be people that will talk to and say yes? So do you believe people will say that?
I do. I think more people will believe that lying for a just cause is okay. You think, that's the way the world is.
And you feel people, when we talk to them this evening, are going to be echoing that comment?
I do. I do believe that the majority of people will consider that for a just cause.
All right. Well, we're going to find out what they say. So let's bring them on. We are here at Mulligan's Bar and Grill, and I'm very excited to be here in Bristol, Connecticut, because they have some great food here.
Oh, man.
And really looking forward to having that meal. First of all, let's go around what we're drinking. Liz, I think you're a broken record.
I am a broken record. I have Angry Orchard Hard Cider once again.
Yeah.
I am sipping a Two Roads, Too Juicy Hazy Double IPA this evening.
Yeah, that sounds disgusting.
2 Roads quality.
And I'm coming off my pumpkin ale.
Recovering from pumpkin ale.
I'm not proud of it, but they don't have the beers that I like here. Neither of them had a strong tap. In fact, there was no tap on this one. Their tap is broken. So I'm here.
It's faith on pour.
Anyway, before I was rudely interrupted, I'm drinking a Guinness Draft Stout. It's
yay.
Yeah.
Does it have the CO2 charge in the can with that one?
They used to have the nitro. It's not a pumpkin ale anyways.
It's true. Very true.
We are ready to ask the question, are there any situations where lying is okay? So let's see what people have to say.
How you doing? I just got off the course. I just shoot tonight.
Perfect.
Since the questions about lying, I shot really good. So
That's excellent.
did I shoot? No, I could have shot better. Whole lot better.
So
when you're talking, we want you.
So
Nice and close.
So your name, please. Your
Julio.
first name, Julio.
Yep.
Nice. First of all, thank you for
Yes,
thank
being
you very
brave
much.
enough. Most guys don't do this. Females have an easier time coming to the mic. Guys do not.
No, all
That's
right.
true.
Well,
So takes a set. So I appreciate that. So our question tonight is there ever a good reason to lie? And you can answer any way you want.
so it was posed to me over there. I said, yes, definitely. There's always the white lies. and then there's bigger lies. So I think white lies are okay.
And define white
Only
lies.
because if you want to ask a question to somebody or someone poses a question to you, how do I look tonight? Your female friend or your male friend.
Right.
And there is the conundrum question.
There you go. So if you don't want to hurt their feelings, you're going to say, well, you look good. And depending how you say it, I'm sure there's going to be a response.
Have a definition for the white lie? Is there like a...
Well, no, like in generalities, I'm just saying in that particular situation, you're going to try to bite your tongue and not tell the truth.
But I'm curious. I'm just curious. Are white lies reserved for people that are near and dear to you, or white lies can they extend to people that maybe aren't as close?
No, a newborn don't look good, and well, that's exactly Seinfeld. Right?
Yes, exactly.
So, but those are not near and dear to you, but you know, friends that you know that. Your baby looks like an alien, you know, so not near and dear to you, but you don't want to put it out there saying, hey, something's wrong with your baby, but that's another situation. So
when what's the goal? When you tell a white lie, what is your goal of that white lie? Why do you tell it?
Obviously it's to make them feel better.
Okay.
And not to create a conflict.
Mm-hmm.
So
have you ever been a victim of a white lie?
I wouldn't know. I'm sure I have, you know, I'm sure back in the day, not lately, but back in the day, I'm sure I've been told white lies plenty of times, you know, so who knows, but it didn't hurt my feelings. I'm pretty a blunt person. So, but when it comes to white lies, I guess I don't come out as blunt as I should.
And your the other lies, what do you consider those other lies called?
I think it's more of a moral thing.
And why would you not want to tell them a moral lie?
Because you're obviously hiding something. You're trying to hold back something that's going to hurt somebody's feelings or something that you don't want people to know. So
where's the line?
Where's the line?
In the moral. And who
because they
judges that line?
Because generally they're both morally wrong, but
okay.
I think the more heavier the lie, which you're trying to define, which is hard to define.
It is.
Yeah.
Because a white lie, I think everybody pretty much knows what a white lie is. A morally heavy burden lie where it's going to either expose you,
right,
or it's going to hurt somebody's feelings if you tell them the truth.
Right.
Like being in relationships and being unfaithful to somebody. You know it's wrong, but you continue the relationship knowing that you're lying to that person. So that's a big moral lie.
And then it's a whole different category at that point. It feels anyway.
Yeah, well, and then if you confess the truth, then it's less of a burden on yourself than it is on the person that you just told the lie, that you fessed up a lie to. So,
that's very profound.
Yeah.
Really.
Thank you. So, I don't want to take any more of your time. I really appreciate it.
No problem.
So great.
Thank you, sir. I really liked your opinion. That was awesome.
No problem.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
We're here with Mel, and you seem to be kind of a higher up here at the restaurant.
I own the restaurant. So.
Yeah, that's pretty high. That's pretty high.
Yeah, I would say that.
So, so we've been asking people your opinion on, is it ever okay to lie?
I think there's instances.
And when would that be?
See, she said, oh, you wouldn't ask me that. she said it was just a yes or no question.
You lie about
so
that.
you want to say maybe?
I think there's times that it's all right. Yeah, for sure.
And what type of, without giving a specific example, when would you lie? For what purpose would it?
I don't know. If I think if something's going to hurt somebody's feelings, maybe,
right?
You know, and it's not really that important or that big a deal. Like, I think you let it go. I think that's an easy one. I think.
Yeah. But any other time, any other lie would be wrong. Why would it be wrong, do you think?
Oh, I mean, obviously, when you get into relationships, it's a bit different. You know what I mean? Like if I go to a table, like if you ate lunch here today and you said it was good and it wasn't, I mean, that's okay, right? You don't want to hurt my feelings,
Right.
It's not that big a deal to you, maybe. Where some people would be like, oh, it was great, it was horrible, whatever it was, you know what I mean? So I think there's times where it doesn't make a big difference.
Yeah.
I guess when you're the victim of it, is it a white lie? Do you feel like it's a white lie? I mean, when you're the victim of it, I'm sure I have. I'm not one to like keep a scorecard in my head, but I'm sure. I know there's times where, somebody has omitted things or not said something and I've had to find something out on my own. To me, that's kind of a lie as well, but
Omitted.
yeah, they've omitted some facts,
Awesome.
So,
thanks so much.
That was
Yeah, no problem.
fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Having us tonight, too. Thank you. So I'm here with a beer buddy. We're both drinking Guinnesses and not loving them, but we're drinking them. Right. The actual question, first of all, your name is?
My name is Dan.
Dan. Okay.
Dan, nice to meet you, Dan.
And the question is it ever okay to tell a lie?
And if the answer yes, can you give us a scenario in which it's okay?
I think the only time it's okay, it's to protect a child. Like for example, when an animal dies and the kid is too young, you lie and you say that it's sleeping. But then as you grow up, you have this code, you don't lie. And for example, I'm an engineer, so I can lie. If I lie, things can go bad. So, but when you're protecting a child from life or the harshness of life, I think that's okay to lie. That's the only reason.
So the culture like the Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny, those lies are okay because you're just kind of enticing childrenhood.
Yeah, it's
a child being a child.
It's the innocence of a child, right? It's the beauty of being a child. And if we look at it from, I'm Catholic, so if you look at it from the Catholic perspective, Jesus loved children. You want to protect children. And that's a way of protecting them a little bit from the harshness of life, because eventually they grow up and they face the cruel reality of life.
Yep.
And I think it's good to give them at least that sense of, I don't know, a white lie to protect their feelings a little bit. I think that's fine.
Let kids be kids for a while.
So so the other type of lie, would you classify as what?
So that's one lie.
Wait a second.
So that's just children, right? The other one is just when you're older, you don't want that. I mean, like I'm married, so I wouldn't lie to her. Engineer, like my career, I wouldn't lie in my job. My friends, I wouldn't lie to my friends, So
not even a white lie to protect your friend's feelings or.
Well, I think when you're an adult, you can take that. I mean, like if Mark was wearing a bad hat, I would tell him, right? I would be like, hey, that hat doesn't suit you.
I don't look bad in any hat. That's the problem. So the question is, I asked if there's any absolute truths, and she goes, "What's truth?" So
I think an absolute truth is what you truly believe. Depending on how you're raised with your morals, that's your truth. Like for example, as I said before, I was Catholic. I'm Catholic, so I was given this guideline, and that's my system. It's like my programming, right? And that's where I base my decisions off. That's my compass, you can say.
Yeah.
And other people may like half truths, like the government can lie to them and they're happy with it, right? And others want answers. So yeah.
So is it? If you deem as truth, no matter the reality of it.
Yeah, because I think that at least when I was a child, I was given really good principles and almost like a guide. Like, this is your guide. You don't lie. Try your best in your work. You love God and move forward from there. You're going to face adversities. You're going to face challenges and you just carry on the battle, right? So that's just, at least that's my personal truth. It could depend. I mean, there are people everywhere.
So in that context, is lying even possible? So if I have forms of truth, if you're set of truth,
and differ in our truth, and I base something possibly because you believe something different than that. If that truth is my truth, your truth is your truth, and so
Wouldn't that be more of a debate though? Because yeah, I think it would, because like, for example, let's just say that you believe like the can that I have here to me is black, but maybe you see it as blue because you were taught that this is blue, right? We're gonna debate on it. No, we're gonna compare it, and we're gonna talk to other people. We're gonna research it and agree to disagree, or come with a solution or come with a conclusion. So if you have your set of principles and I have mine, then we're just gonna talk about it. At least that's my view.
Yeah. All right. Thanks. Perfect.
Thanks.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, anytime.
And thanks again for Mel at Mulligan's Bar and Grill for having us here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Tune in next episode when you'll hear Dennis say,
Don't marry that person.